Hello, my name is Ascolto Fortissimo, and I am a music critic. And today I've been asked by a friend of mine, known as Araknie Retro in these circles, to talk about a soundtrack or a disc or an album. And since I know you're all but silly gamers, I decided to come here and show you how to talk about something really high up in the scale of music design. So it's time to talk about the 1986 Super Mario Bros. Animated movie soundtrack. If you can believe that something like this exists, well, you'll just have to see. Today we're gonna take a deep dive into this. This is what are we gonna look at today. Unfortunately, this soundtrack is best achievable to be listened to on the YouTube. There is only a little quality of it. It's been uploaded, well, 16 years ago. We don't have much to go on for this, but we'll make do with it. So first of all, we'll have a listen, and then I think I've set up the loop. We'll listen to it again, but with my commentary over it. So, get ready for a ride. Ascolto Fortissimo is here to lead you through the bellissimo soundtracks. So, there you have it. This is the first track into the Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach 1986 movie. So it's the first thing we have to consider. It's an honest mistake that many people do. They don't consider. Titles are important. This first track is called Mario the Great. Does it really represent that? Yes. Let's listen to it in the background again. How does it start is to make fit the movie. It starts with a view of the castle and the ongoings. We have a bit of few of original designs in there, including Toad, a Luigi still not yet defined, and more looking like a twin to Mario, Toads again, and also a prince. Well, to discover why there is a prince other than a princess, just a Princess Peach, you'll have to discover also they have a wizard. Then the music actually starts, and it starts to describe the greatness of Mario. We're gonna see Mario. We're gonna see how great it is. It uses the first game, which was the only thing that ever released when the character was called Mario. Before that, there has been Donkey Kong, maybe Mario Bros. But even in that, it wasn't called Mario. It still was called as Jumpin'. Even if the title for the localized version of the arcade game was Mario Bros, we had Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong Math, a cameo in tennis, a cameo in golf. But this was the first. Super Mario Bros. Was the first media where Mario was Mario, Luigi was Luigi, Princess Peach was Princess Peach. Well, at least in Japan. In the West, they decided to make her become Princess Toadstool, because Peach reminded of the head of Nintendo of America well, how do I say it in a correct way? Well, of the buttocks. So, here we have it. This is how joyful it is. Mario the Great. It sounds great, it is great. Now, we'll move to the second track. The second track is very important because it's called Doki Doki Do It. Doki Doki Do It, which implies a starting of the adventure. Let's have a listen first. So there you have it. That was Doki Doki Do It. Let's put it in the background a little bit. Well, first of all, we'll ask the usual question. Does it fulfill the sense of Doki Doki Do It? Well, yes, of course. So, basically, this is a heartthrob song. Could be described as being sung by the prince towards the princess Peach, so it is perfectly fitting within the title. The problem that this song showcases is that it's been a blatant case of plagiarism. Ah, che sfortuna. Well, it is completely taken and lifting from Footloose, the most eponymous song from the same movie. So it is certainly something that we could do without in this case. We have a very plagiarized song, so it doesn't stand out. Sure, it sounds great, the orchestration had to be original, the lyrics, I bet they are different enough because they have to fit the Mushroom Kingdom aesthetic, but they don't fit, in my opinion, in general, the standards of a good soundtrack because of that plagiarism. But after all, it only follows in the steps of Koji Kondo's first works. Both The Legend of Zelda for NES and Super Mario Bros. Also for NES massively lift from Japanese jazz band P-Square after all. So it just continues that tradition. So, with Heavy Heart, after a first great orchestral rendition of the Super Mario Bros. Overworld theme, Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach is not following any steps with Doki Doki Do It, going instead for plagiarism. On the third song, we have something titled Dream Dream Dream, and we're gonna have a listen to it first. And there you have it, in a surprise twist that honestly could shock only the world. The music of this soundtrack shocks us all by starting with the Invincibility Star musical loop, but never going further along as to elaborate on it. Instead, in a stark contrast, it goes finally in the theme, respecting the name of Dream 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 as a title, ellipsis included, that we come with a rendition that I could consider molto bella of the water level theme. The first part is not as good. You expect that for a movie they were going to expand on it, but they didn't. Also didn't respect the Dream 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 title. And also the transition is very stark, very amateurish, and doesn't fit as a transition. If they had expanded originally on the theming of the Invincibility Star, could have been better. But with this transition, we are forced to get something that sounds nice, but is preceded by something that it's not good. We go from a andante to an adagio, and that is not a good contrast without a bridge to connect them. So that is unfortunately, what we have as the third track of this, a very disjointed track. For now, only the first track in Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach has respected any way, shape, or form the expectations of an animated movie soundtrack. We'll have to see. The problem now is that we'll get to listen to another track that might incute terror in people of every age. They say it's Doki Doki instrumental, but looking at the running time, you can see that against the 3 hour, the 3 minutes, the hours, if only. We are not so lucky. But instead of the 3 minutes and 14 seconds of the original rendition of Doki Doki Do It, we get a 3 hour and... Yes, 3 hours. I am fixated with hours. I'll have to ask my brother what's that about. Anyway, I'll have to see if 3 minutes and 41 seconds bring any variations to this. So not just an instrumental, but an instrumental with a different runtime. Well, I certainly have my interest piqued. Sono molto interessato. Let's have a listen. And there you have it, and there you have it. We finally have a bigger and better interpretation of that Doki Doki Do It rather than the original. So it's kind of incredible, but also Doki Doki Do It instrumental respects the name of the title. It's a completely different instrumentation, and not only that, it's only started by a little musical bridge that serves probably in the animated movie as a... how do you say it? Let's call it a brevissimo to connect the two things together. With this little spice, also we get an instrumentation after this that is completely different. And it doesn't sound anymore like anything that got plagiarized. Also, after the melody gets played a bunch of times, the melody introduces also percussions to the mix, creating a second phase of it, and then not fading out, but conscientiously, and for the betterment of it, finishing. I firmly believe that fading out is not the correct way to end a song. So we get something that retains the spirit, at least the voice in the form of a saxophone this time around, of the original, but finalmente it's much better than the original and doesn't sound like it could have plagiarized anything of any importance. So it's finally something unique. The Doki Doki Do It instrumental is seriously superior to the original voiced version, because the instrumentation is completely different and it creates that uniqueness that was meant to be happening. After that, we have a bit of a change. We got something called Plot of the Turtle Clan. So, this time around they're introducing a villain, probably. Well, that's what makes me think about when somebody is plotting. Let's hear what we actually hear. So, there you have it, there you have it. It's something of a surprise for everybody, but we got a actual sound that reminds us of plotting indeed. It surely does that to me. And you can hear also people going in the background. More like that even. So that might mean that there are seriously some mafiosos. They want to invoke noir movie vibes with this track in particular. So plot of the Turtle Clan is perfectly represented here. Yes, we have everything we need in it. Certainly it sounds like a menace is mounting more and more than we could believe. But we don't got all the time in the world. So this is what sounds like a ballad, and it probably is. Apparently sung by Mia Yamase, we have Adieu, My Love. And there you have it. So I am as surprised as you are. I'm as surprised as you are. A real review can only be done on first listen. On subsequent listens, after all, you are forging a different opinion. So it is a real review can only be done after the first play or of first listen. If you wanna call it that, I prefer to use the term first play. So this maybe Mia Yamase was the piano player. And Adieu My Love implies that the plot of the Turtle Clan that preceded this has been successful. So it seems like Princess Peach is being taken away at this point in the movie. So it seems like they spent a lot of time exploring the world of the Mushroom Kingdom before getting into the movie itself. It was interesting how they avoided the main plot, the title, Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to rescue Princess Peach for so long before getting to this point. We are at the halfway point of the soundtrack, even if this doesn't necessarily mean that we are at the halfway point of the movie. As we know, soundtracks and melodies can be reused multiple times, or can be used sparsely, and the full version can be used later on or never. You can hear bits and pieces of every track here and there. It's suggested that also by the fact that there are tracks here that fade and transition into something else entirely. And with this we get a wistful piano player that is saying Adieu My Love. Princess Peach saying goodbye to her prince, a character like the mage in the background, introduced here, but never shown back. Even if the mage, the sage, could be kind of be transferred to the character introduced in Super Mario Sunshine, known as Toadsworth. But the prince has never been brought back. That is for sure. So this movie remains an anomaly, a mystery, and an exercise in creativity, introducing new characters and not sticking to the branded opinion and IP protection that usually goes on so rampant with these franchises is for the betterment of the movie, probably. Since this is an adventure movie, but also it wanted to be a comedy. So the more characters that are not serious, the better. Now, we are going to transfer our attention to the second part. And we have the first and last, no, we have the third and last rendition of Doki Doki Do It, which is rock and roll. And respecting the rock and roll version seems to be also vocalized, but from what I can hear, it seems to be inspired by the 50s and 60s era of rock and roll. Is it gonna be another case of Footloose in it, or it's gonna be something or in the vein of the Animals or other 60s era rock bands? Well, we'll have just to hear it to find out. Oh, this soundtrack has taken a completely different turn. So we have something that is seriously worthwhile talking about finally. Well, I didn't expect this to gain so much traction, but this is a bit inspired by the 60s era rock and roll and 50s for that margin, but the electric guitar is clearly taken from the revival era rock and roll, which was a movement prevalent mostly in the earliest part of the 80s. So this for 1986 was already something that was after that movement went and gone, even if I have to admit the movement came back again in the first part of the 90s, and again in the latest part of the 90s, and again in the first part of the 2000s, and then since then the rock and roll as we know it, aka with the roll, with the drum roll, the classic piece, it didn't come back since then, but yeah, it was somehow a movement that got revised and return, and non voleva mollare, and so we had this more and more of the rock and roll. They kept reinventing it, to be honest. It was reinvented how in the early 90s to say? Well, with the help of ska. And in the early 2000s with the help of more alternative rock, let's call it, even if it's extremely generic. I don't like it per niente to say it, so let's say that that's what the movement takes inspiration from. Now, what do we have here is something extremely important. Mario dancing with the grade. So, who knows what such a mysterious title can hold in store for all of us? Honestly, dancing with the grade. It's quite the weird and estranged titling that we have here at the moment. In the 8th out of 12 of the tracks of this movie, we have Mario dancing with the grade. I'm honestly intrigued. Let's listen to it. So, we have a surprise. We have another surprise. We have another surprise, and not a small one either. Well, how do you describe this? We can tell that Mario was distracted during his voyage to save Princess Peach, the great mission to rescue Princess Peach! Exclamation point. If we note the exclamation point. So we have that against us, but we now notice that this is the same intro from the beginning. This must be something that is used to show something that is instead happening at the palace. And then, transitional moment in the comedy adventure. What is Mario doing? It's gonna be great. Mario is dancing. Wow, he got distracted. I mean, the Turtle Clan, it has a plot. As we all well know at this point, they have succeeded in their plot. And now, after all, if Bowser marries Princess Peach, he becomes the king. Or the prince. Anyway, it's enough for him to get that much. Including that, you might have noticed that it is club music. There's many classic 80s club music stylings, including the classic Yamaha keyboard clap, plus the breakdown that goes into a bit of a dance style. After this second melody reprise. So we have this and the knowledge that we need to understand that Princess Peach is seriously in more danger than we thought. What is going on, Milo? Why are you dancing? Perché mai? So now we transition to the 9th, again credited to Mia Yamase, but called Crystal Ball. Will this be sung or will this sing? Well, there's only one way to find out. And there we have it. We have the final reveal. Mia Yamase has a voice. Mia Yamase has a voice. That was surprising. But we finally get the meaning of everything going on. So, Crystal Ball is basically a wish. Usually when a romantic song sings about a crystal ball. Is it represented, the title of the track? Oh yes, it is. This is a girl singing about how she wishes she had a crystal ball so that she could see if her future was bright or not. Even if that's not the text, that's the feeling it gives. And that's the most important. When you don't understand the language, the only important thing is the feeling. If the feeling is conveyed, then the song has done a great work and towards that. This is a song of a wish. And it works very well that way. It honestly surprises and impresses with its style and is very 80s, but at the very least it's earnest because it was made in 1986. So it is period accurate. It's not self-aware and it's not jokingly made. That's the most important thing when you want a wistful song. It needs to be earnest. And that's very good. Now, we are nearing the end of our journey for today in my presence with you. I, Ascolto Fortissimo, I've been great to be with you, but we have some surprises still. What does this mean for you? I do not know what this means for me. I do not know. Che paura. And there you have it. Mario walks. If you can believe it, Mario can walk. Honestly, I couldn't believe it until the music told me so, but ne sono incredulo. But we have something that confirms it. Mario walks. I honestly think that the cover should have given it away for me. Not only Mario, but also Luigi are about to walk, and I didn't think about it earlier. Well, yeah, this is a perfect music for a stroll. It fits the theming of a stroll perfectly well. and also represents what a stroll should be. I guess this is interstitial music, something that you hear while the brothers, assuming they don't separate, are moving about. This is nothing much, nothing less than a bit of a slower pace, an andante of the first track of this movie. It's what you'd expect from something like this. They need interstitial music, all the best movies have it, so, and this has it too. Is it a good movie? Well, it certainly is the best of the Super Mario Bros. Movies. There's no doubt about it, but it's not like that was a high bar to climb, not at all. Moving on to what I find an interesting title, we have something called Waltz in Blue. Well, hearing the first 3 musical notes gives me the impression that it's gonna be a more full instead of the constrained rendition we had early in Dream 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 of the underwater theme. So I'm curious to hear how they're gonna turn it into a waltz, since I felt like the original was befitting of a waltz already on its own. So, track number 11. Is it gonna fit? Waltz in Blue. Well, Waltzing Under the Sea in blue. The title is more right than we can imagine. We'll listen to it right now. So, I've got a message in chat. Let's see who it is. It's Araknie Retro. Oh, it's you. Thank you for giving me the space on this channel after all. So let's listen. Let's read actually. Sorry, I'm too used to listen to music. Che stupidetto. Anyway, ascolto. Listen, are you finished yet? I wanna stream. Okay, well, listen up. Don't worry about it, Araknie. You're gonna stream very soon. I have to analyze this track and then also talk about it. Are you okay with that? You posted another message. Oh, okay, be quick about it though. Yes. Well, this is actually a really simple waltz, as we say in quartina. Quartine, it's very quick about it. It doesn't have much of an evolution. It tries to add some percussion to the original melody, and we have also some little jaunty variation in the second part, but it's not much of an original thing. It's just the underwater theme now orchestrated and con percussioni aggiunte. So that's what we have at this point. Unfortunately, nothing super impressive, but something that respects, like I was thinking, the title at the very least. And we conclude with the last track, which is also the longest one, surprisingly. My Love, AD, YU. That's quite interesting as a title. I wonder what's that all about. Well, we'll have a listen now. So here we have it, the entire soundtrack of Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach. We didn't get a track representing the final battle against whoever the enemy was. I think it was Bowser at the end there, but we don't have confirmation. But at least we can assume that they reuse the plot of the Koopa clan, of the Turtle clan, to actually make it so that they add some interest into gathering their information. But yes, in regards to this song, My Love is probably referring to the finally meeting back together of Princess Peach and the Prince. So, a character that we never saw back again in the series of Super Mario Bros. Got plenty of exposure in this, both having two songs himself, and Mario is being seen as a supporting character, the hero, but only by happenstance, and only because the prince had to remain at the castle. Probably. From what I've gathered from this, there was some type of curse or something. The image present in the cover implies that there was some magic involved. So there was something going on for why the prince couldn't go himself and probably had to call Mario. Which was probably even introduced as a renowned treasure hunter, according to the photo, and a renowned jolly fella and hero. So that's what we gather from that. We don't have much more going on, and that's how it ends for this. So, what can I say? It's been a pleasure meeting you. This is it. The next time I'll try coming up with something maybe longer, more impressive or interesting. But yes, we have the reunion. Almost all tracks have represented almost perfectly the titling of this things. But yes, now I'm gonna give back the stage, you can say, the stage to our friend Araknie, so that we have honestly something that makes more sense than my ramblings probably. In the meantime, Araknie is probably trying to make something sound correctly, or hopefully it takes over and gives you some music to listen to before it comes about. So this has been Ascolto Fortissimo, and as we say in the business, we will talk about it next time. Ciao.